guys, welcome back to But Like Why the podcast. We are here today with our with my lovely co-host Stephanie and our guest today. Her name is Monique Boileau, and we have a very special and exciting episode today. We're going to be talking about plant medicine. So welcome, guys.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good to see you guys after a couple weeks off.
A little break we took.
We have to do some research for this one.
Yes. So we wanted to talk about an experience that these two have had recently with plant medicine. So first of all, let's talk about what plant medicine is.
Well, I feel like plant medicine to me is just like elements that you find in our environment that, like actually have, because I feel like plants themselves have so many resources and are so intelligent, and they all have an ability to heal us, and usually are the remedies that do the most in terms of like healing us, but we kind of like forget about them. And I think as a society we lean on synthetic medicines or medications as like a quick fix, but in reality it's like you're supposed to work with these elements and understand them and learn them, and they ultimately will change you. I think they offer a lot of opportunity for transformation.
Yeah. I think for me, plant medicine is, I think a lot of people go straight to like, oh, you're tripping in the woods and you're seeing all these colors and that's plant medicine. but plant medicine is the Earth's natural system that's put in place for all of the living organisms to be able to thrive, right? So it could be like you eat all your greens, that's plant medicine. Or it could be like what we did last weekend at a ceremony with peyote, a cactus that is psychoactive and psychedelic and helps you with like healing internal traumas and like emotional traumas and just sitting with yourself and really thinking. So it's a mental medicine. And I think, like you're talking about, we do rely on synthesized versions of what all of these plants in the world can already do. We've taken what the plants can already do and brought it to a laboratory to overcomplicate the entire experience and make money off of it by putting it in a little pressed pill in a bottle and selling it to sick people who are sick because they don't have enough plant medicine.
Right.
It's like this really weird cycle that
backwards
cycle need to happen.
Yeah, for sure. So what was this ceremony like, and why did you choose to go through this experience?
I mean, I don't know. I felt like things like this kind of just like find you. And I think I was just like in the right place at the right time. And we actually hooked up with another fellow Florida State Tallahassean who introduced us and told us about it. And it's just kind of funny how that network I feel like that network is like gets bigger and bigger the longer I'm out of school. But it's kind of funny how that works. We went down to Miami and we met these like really cool medicine people. And I guess I kind of just wanted to do it because I'd always kind of heard about these ceremonies and these like groups that kind of huddle in the forest to just like discover shit. And I was like, oh, I'm not ready. Am I ready? I'm ready. I haven't gotten there yet consciously. But I think because of last year, how much I've like just mentally been unpacking, I was like, this is the perfect time to kind of see what these people, like, what is their knowledge, to kind of just like I don't know, to explore something that I always kind of thought about, but was like, I'm too scared to try. It just kind of felt right. I don't know.
Yeah. Like you wanted to take it deeper, like spiritually. I feel like I remember talking to you before you went through this, and you were like saying like, oh, I feel like I've reached this like plateau level of like spirituality and like whatever that connection means for you. And it's like you wanting to go deeper into that and like kind of like block or like go to the next level kind of thing.
Yeah, because I feel like I like, I don't want to, I don't want to say like I've learned everything. It was like I feel like there's always so much to learn, but it was kind of like I got to as much as I could learn on my own.
Yeah.
And I kind of I wanted to collaborate with like other minds who were kind of on the similar journey. I felt like my soul kind of
Yeah.
needed that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with that last part about just minds that are on a similar journey as we feel our minds have been. Like I know in the past year, I kind of had a bit of a mental breakdown like a year and a half ago, like a big screaming, crying in my car by myself for 2 hours type of thing. um, and so I knew I had a lot to deal with, but I didn't know how to do it. So I signed up for free healthcare because I have no money, which is changing, abundance mindset. But
there you go.
I started going to therapy, and I wanted to really try to work on it myself, and not be irresponsible with what we're talking about today, plant medicine, because it is something that you're interacting with this plant. It's not just something that's for you. You have to do something for the plant.
Yes.
If it's going to teach you a lesson, you have to bring something to the table. So, this past year of me kind of working on myself and my mental health and like my emotional state as a person and all of these things, I kept getting directed towards other artists. I'm a painter myself. Other artists of all kinds who inspire me and say things that kind of have woken me up, and they've all taken this track of like exploring plant medicines and trying to reconnect with the earth and like reconnect with indigenous populations and basically people who aren't totally lost in the modern rat race. So yeah, I think it was just like, oh, the people around me that I admire most are doing this, and I feel like I'm ready to take whatever step that is.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, but it was a beautiful ceremony. It was like,
is it ran by shamans?
I don't think they ever use that word.
Okay.
Or
that's what I hear about.
Maybe they do use it, but I don't think they use that word.
I feel like they went by mostly medicine people.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think like maybe ayahuasca, they tend to lean more towards like shaman.
Yes.
I think like peyote, it's a little different in terms of like medicine people, and like that whole ceremony kind of splits off into like a different vein.
Because the story of the peyote cactus, it's not like,
I was just about to ask, like, do you know the history of it or like the people behind that medicine?
Right. So the legend is not that like there's this savior with this plant. It's not that kind of thing where you might have like a shaman who's like this like figurehead of the community. It's gonna guide you through things. And they do have that, and that's what these people are. But the story of the peyote is that the people in Mexico who discovered it, they discovered it because they were so hungry and so thirsty and had nothing that they sent their hunters to go find food out in the desert. And they wandered and wandered and saw nothing. And one day they saw this blue deer. And that's like the spirit of the peyote. And so they chased the deer and they shot at it with, I'm assuming, bows and arrows, but I don't know. And when they went around the corner to see, like, to get the body, it had disappeared and become all of these little cactuses. They look like they're like little buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
So cute.
Yeah.
So it's more like, they brought that back to their people, and the people ate the peyote, and from then they didn't want anything ever. They were never hungry again. They were never thirsty again. So it just brought them so much gratitude, and it's like, it was brought by the hunters of the group, like the people who were gonna really try to find a solution.
Right.
So I think that's who these people are, is like they want to help. They just want to help.
And I think there's just an understanding of just like, you have to fix yourself to keep fixing yourself, and by healing yourself, the community gets better, because if everyone individually is working on themselves and collaborating with the earth, everyone kind of benefits from it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was like a really beautiful aspect. And it also takes a really long time for the peyote to grow. I think we had like the cacti we had was like 80 years old which is kind of crazy.
Wow. And
Yeah.
in that, like in itself is like pretty amazing just to know like that plant has been sitting there for longer than we've been alive and
Yeah.
It's, like, full
all
of
the wisdom that it like carries.
Yeah, and they
Just
talk
energetically.
about that. Like the peyote spirit is like the grandfather spirit, and you're gonna learn
Mm.
grandfather lessons. Is what it's gonna teach you.
Mhm.
So and you do a lot of like in the ceremony. There's a lot of honoring the divine masculine. And I think they use that term just for everyone to be able to relate. I'm not sure what they might have
Right.
called it, but yeah, it's like honoring the grandfather and father spirits and like all the male energy in your life and in you, and recognizing that we all have both energies within us, and it's about balancing them to like
Yeah.
help us figure out what's going on in here.
Absolutely.
You need both for sure. It's like that masculine energy offers so much guidance and clarity, and what the female energy just offers the softness, the wisdom, the perspective, and it's like together it's a very powerful energy.
Oh yeah.
And it was really cool just to see. There were a lot of men that were like there was a couple women that were also leading the medicine, but it was just really cool to see men stepping into their roles as like fire keepers and also like healers in a way. There was like we received like these bags for purging, and it was like one of the medicine people, he literally would just come and pick up the bags and give us a new one, and he was just like so like it's just crazy. Someone like coming and pick up throw up essentially is like so like grateful to do it. He's like, I'm grateful to serve you, and you serve your
We'll serve this
experience of
letting go.
healing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they call the when you get sick and when you throw up into this little bag, they don't call it throw up, they call it wellness. And this guy comes around to pick up your wellness, and then they take it to a hole in the dirt and they pour it back to the earth so the earth can take care of all those things that you just got out of you.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
it's like transmuting the energy and making it useful in whatever divine way it needs to be like used. That's so cool.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I wonder, I mean, I guess I should probably describe kind of what it looked like. People want to imagine.
Well, what like was it a tea? Like how do they like grind the cactus up?
They said usually they serve it dried, but this was fresh. It was like a special occasion that we had this fresh peyote.
Cool.
And to be honest, it was really gross. It was like a very like acidic, bitter, like pickle texture, like very just tough. And so we were all sitting in this circle around this fire, and the fire is continually changing shape as the night goes on, and there's a fire keeper adjusting things. And you can only enter and exit through one part of the circle.
Okay.
And it's encouraged that you don't leave at all, but if you need to leave for a minute, you can do that.
Because traditionally the circle would represent the teepee, and this would all go down like side of a giant teepee. So it's just one way in, one way out.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys like, do they like sit you down, go over everything, and then like give you all the medicine, and then you all start like
essentially, but there's a lot of like ritual involved, and there's a lot of attention to detail. So we sat there for a good like 2 hours watching them set up the circle. So setting up the fire, arranging the wood in a certain way, arranging the coals in a certain way, arranging
altar,
flower petals, different offerings. It was very like intentional, and everything had an order and a reason behind it, which was so cool.
Yeah.
The ceremony is or the medicine is administered in 4 rounds. So first you snort or sniff this liquid tobacco that they bring around. And I guess that's just to kind of like clear out your sinuses and like get you ready to receive.
Said it would also open the portal, like a channel to the creator. So it's like I guess like your communication now is like it has a clear passageway.
Okay.
And they believe that goes through like the sinus, because I guess like if you think about like the
to the third eye,
mind, it's just like
or right.
It's like it's almost like a spotlight.
Yeah.
So you do that, and then they come around with the little pieces of peyote, and they give you a few pieces in your hand. and you got to eat them. And if you're having a hard time, then they say, well, you probably need more. So they give you more.
Oh yeah.
And you do
Oh
this
wow.
4 times. And the first time I was like, I can do this. And I ate it and I was like, oh God, this like actually really sucks. And then the second time I was like, he came around again and I was like, can I just have like half of that? And he's like, oh, you need more. So he gave me like more than everybody else got.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like, okay. And the second time was the hardest. The third time I was like, all right, I can do it. And by the fourth time, yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
Not difficult at all.
I'm the opposite. I only got about 2 good rounds, and then it was very hard. But
Okay.
but at the same time, though, I kind of didn't feel like I needed it. Like I don't know. It just felt like it was like so. I felt like it was so balanced. Like I kind of was like, because it's like what I did when I was able to get some of it down. It was like, okay, that's like that's like what I needed for that round. You know, like
Yes.
I feel like it's not something where it's like I'm like it's like a different vibe because I'm not trying to like party with it. So it's like you're really just going, you're letting your body tell you like what you need and how you need it, and it's also you're listening to your body. And I feel like it's such a clear way of just I can hear my sensory, my intuition. Like I don't know, it's just different.
Yeah.
Everybody is different. Like everybody handled it different. I think that was so interesting too. It's just how each because you're in a circle, you kind of can see how every single person is like interpreting it and like going through the experience. So some people like they have like not like a lot to pack through, but like they were like, oh, like you know, some people get sick before other people. Some people are a little stronger, not stronger, but just like how do I say that? Like they didn't get sick. Maybe they only got sick a couple times. So it's like I don't know. It's just a very like intimate, cool experience where you're just kind of like just understanding that we all have something to work through, and we're all kind of like taking this moment to really dive into ourselves.
Yeah, I felt like the first 2 rounds I was trying to be tough and not throw up.
Same.
Okay.
Which is,
see that.
you know, it's indicative of a lot of other things in my life.
Yes, right.
But you know, just being tough. And then I was like, no, like the point of this is that this goes inside of me to take out what I don't need. So I need
Release
to be okay
it.
with releasing it. And then I was puking all over the place. I mean, I was only puking in my bag, but you know, there was a lot.
Yes.
So
yeah.
it was good. And by the end, it wasn't scary. That was like my biggest takeaway.
It was like the what brought me to tears, the clarity. It was just like, I don't know, I just felt like, I don't know, I don't want to say I was like a new person, but it just felt like so much weight had been like discarded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
like
what it was
stuff too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So what did it like feel like, you know, and did it get more and more intense each round, or was it just like gradual? Was it a body feeling, or did you have visuals? Like what was that like? You know what I mean? Or was it just feeling?
For me it was more like mental processing. It was a lot of very heavy thinking, and a lot of coming to terms with things. And my biggest takeaway was that there is fear in the world. Fear exists, but it's not part of me. So like I am not afraid. There just is fear. It's 2 different things. So that's what I got from it. But as far as visuals, I had some like mental images of like the people I was thinking of, but I didn't have any of the visuals that other people talked about. Like people do see like spirits, and people see the blue deer spirit of the peyote too. So people do have visions, but I didn't.
I feel like I didn't have any open-eyed visions, but I had some like when I shut my eyes, and I really just tried to like have a conversation with myself and just like
it's a lot of self-talk.
And I feel like also like creator, also grandfather fire, just like things where I just was like, I want these things aren't serving me, I want them gone, and I want to make peace with a lot of things, and I want to forgive a lot of things, and I want to just like be the best version of myself. So whatever I need to do that, like I'm ready to kind of surrender it. And I don't know, like I wouldn't say it would get, maybe the taste for me got harder as I kept going, but I feel like it was always like super balanced. Like I never felt out of control. Like I always felt like I was in a safe space. with like
Okay.
really smart people leading the charge, and like
Mm.
also learning these like beautiful stories and these beautiful songs. So they sing a lot. It's a lot of singing. And it's just like you hear these like ancient like folklore songs, and they're in Spanish and also in the native tongue. And I don't know, it was just like you never really had a chance to really get too caught in a spiral because you were just in awe of just the beauty of the energies around everybody was just like
Mhm.
really beautiful and just like really creative and
Yeah.
inspiring.
Yeah.
So
and
they like
so-
keep you busy the whole time, in a way.
Yes, they
Yeah.
guide you.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
guide
Because it's
you.
like a class, you're
Yeah.
learning about so much. Like every time they
Mhm.
would change the image of in the coals and the fire, like it's like a different animal and that would represent something else. Like I remember I'm talking about like hummingbirds, and like hummingbirds, he said that like, well, when the natives, like when the Spaniards came, took away willpower and gave them faith. And the hummingbird reminds you that you have willpower and you need willpower to achieve anything you want, because you have to have faith, yes, but faith isn't going, like God gives us free will for a reason, the free will to
You have to
make our own
choose.
choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
you're always in control of your own destiny to
Yeah.
a degree.
And that's kind
Yes.
of what I think they meant by like grandfather lessons. Like, no, you have to work, you know? But then there's also, they said there's no word for work in their culture. It's like, no, there are things that you have to do
Really?
in life. Yeah, there are things you have to do in life to live, but they don't call it work.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's just like,
I like that.
right. It's
Yeah.
just like this.
work is actually, it developed as this for like a term for slavery, because usually you have
Yes.
to work because when you're working based off of desperation or depletion, you're trying to fulfill a resource. The resource is often is already in you. So it's like when you're guided by passion, you can't call it work because it's joy.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
It's doing the thing that needs to be done because you have personal responsibility.
And you take pride in your work, so you don't mind doing it.
Right. Right. How fun. This is like, would you recommend this to anybody and everybody, or is this like?
I mean, I think anybody who wants to just understand just the dynamics of this planet is so much more, like there's so much wisdom. If you're interested in understanding that we are people that have through time offered so much wisdom and acquired so much wisdom, and if you're interested in learning that, 100%. If you're somebody, I don't know, I think a lot of people can benefit from it, to be honest. Like I think it's definitely something that I think people should have access to. I think it's kind of personal, like if you feel like if you want to do it or whatever, I think it's kind of individual's choice. But for me, I'm so interested in my ancestry and so interested in just the history of this planet and just why things are the way they are. So for me, it just kind of made sense. So I feel like if you're curious and you just want, and you're interested in like healing that's not from a traditional sense, if you're interested in just like, thinking like, if you don't want to just go to a doctor to heal you because it's not working, or if you're trying multiple medications and it's not working, or you're like, why am I so anxious after like taking anxiety pills for years? I totally recommend trying this, because you're just going to learn that if it's not within you, you don't need it. Like it's much more interesting to uncover those things that are just dormant in you and then figure out a way to utilize them because it's in you. You've done this 1,000 times, and it's like, it's always worked for you. So why now are you choosing to ignore it, I guess?
Yeah. Definitely a more holistic way of healing.
Yeah. And there was like what you just said, you've done this 1,000 times. They did kind of bring it back to like, you are not that you're not special, but you are millions of years of evolution, and you are made of the 4 elements: water, fire, wind, and earth. Like you know everything you need. It's all in you, like you said.
Yeah.
So someone telling you that, oh, you're sick, you need this thing that that humans made up so that you had to pay for it.
Basically just a Band-Aid.
Yeah, you're treating the symptom, if you're like, I'm anxious, let me take an anxiety pill. I've never taken anxiety medication or antidepressants, but my friends who have, it's never been a good look. Like, it doesn't seem to help anyone. It seems to just turn them off. And so this is not like that. this turns on the things that have been turned off by experiences throughout your life that have shut you down, that have made you feel small, made you feel like you can't or you shouldn't, or all of those negative things. And it like clears that out so that you can help yourself instead of relying on something to turn off your emotions because your emotions are too busy and they're running the show.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of inner wisdom as opposed to prescriptions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and it's
such a
interesting you
difference.
say that too, because it's like, I don't know. I noticed I was put on. Well, I was a doctor one time tried to like prescribe anxiety, antidepressant pills for me, and I remember like reading the bottle and just being like, "This is so weird. You're pretty much telling me like once I start taking this, I have to be very careful about how I wean myself off of it." And I just remember getting this like really weird feeling in my gut, like I shouldn't be taking anything that's going to be a process to not take anymore. Like it's just got. I'd rather explore natural remedies where it's, I don't know. It's like because if it's for you, if it's really for your body, you should be able to pick it up when you need it and be grateful that has arrived, but not miss it once it's gone. You know?
Right. Yeah. I know. That's a trick. It's a tricky one. It really is. Because everyone is so different. And I definitely believe the same way. I'm like, I'm all about just get to the root of the issue. Like, I don't want to cover it up because as soon as the anxiety medication wears off, guess what? I'm anxious again. So it's like, or you know what I mean? It's like, what is that really doing? It's just putting off the problem. It's like the same thing as like when you're hungover, like hair of the dog. Like it's really not solving anything. It's just gonna make you feel better for like an hour. Then you're gonna feel crappy again.
It kind of trips me out too. When you think of like generational trauma, like is that what it really is though? Is it just like we're putting off these anxieties and these things and these negative emotions and this weight and baggage, and it's just like we got through, you know, like the old grandma tale, like a lot of grandmas have resentment, and it's like I had a resentment and it was like 1848, and then the next grandma's like I had resentment, and then it's 2020, and it's like you have now hundreds of years of resentment that you don't even really understand the cause of it or the root of it, but you have to, for the next 7 generations, you have to get rid of it. You have to release your family from this, because it really, because I feel like healing family trauma and generational trauma really just starts with one member. And then, like I said before, in the tribe, like if one person does the work and inspires the other people to do the work, and that makes the whole ecosystem, I feel like, flow.
And if nothing else, like, wouldn't you want to be that person for your family?
Absolutely.
I mean, my family's we're good. We're really bad at communicating with each other and talking about feelings, but overall a good family. And I know that there are really difficult family situations out there, but I think what this medicine and what other mental health practices as well, not just peyote, there's a lot of ways to come to this conclusion, but like nothing is like you're not doomed, and your family is not doomed. It's just if you stay in that pattern, and if you let everyone around you who's in that pattern dictate how you're going to feel, then you're just kind of like sitting in a jail cell holding the key and not doing anything with it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Have you guys seen that thing about like women when they're pregnant, they are actually carrying 2 generations worth of like eggs? Do you know what I'm talking about? Okay, so like think about it. When you're like my grandmother, like when she was pregnant with my mom, like I was an egg inside of my mom as well. So it's like my grandma technically carried 2 generations, and so on. So I feel like the energetics of it is so deep and so deeply embedded in us, in our DNA. Like it can be so hard to like unpack,
It also just shows like how divine and purposeful everything is too, because it was like you had a place on this planet long before your grandma even conceived the idea of being here. It's just,
That
I
is
feel like
amazing.
we walk with that. Like, I was they planted me 2 generations ago. I feel like if we recognize that and we like stepped into that, it's like, damn, I'm powerful. Like, I'm in 2 generations in the making. Like,
Yes.
that's so cool.
Yeah. Yep.
It's so true.
There was a baby at the ceremony.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Just
a little
with like a family member or partaking?
Yeah, her mother was the one who was the sponsor of the event, which means like she invites people and makes sure that they have all the details and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the baby's dad, he was the firekeeper of the ceremony.
Oh wow, awesome.
So yeah, it was really cute. They just had a little tent for their baby behind where mom was sitting. So if she needed to take care of baby, she was right there. But she could also take part in the ceremony. It was really really beautiful.
I feel like I think that's a beautiful energy to have around, like the innocence and just like
this baby is gonna be
oh my
sensei. Like she
Probably
was
has
telling
superpowers.
me that like she's already taught this baby she's already potty trained. The baby's only like 8 weeks, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
And
Are you
she
kidding?
was explaining, yes, I'm serious, 100% serious. And she was like, we are so inherently in tune, like and connected. She's already like, I wish I could remember what the actual term was, but she was just talking about like because we're so in tune, we're so intuitive. She can like send messages to her mom, whether it's like licking her breast or like the way she wiggles, and the mom knows like, oh, she has to go to the bathroom, and she'll just put her over a sink, and the little girl will go pee. And it's so crazy. She's 8 weeks, and she said that like for her it was so crazy because she started out with diapers, and then about maybe 6 weeks into having her, she realized that she kind of intuitively was already communicating with her, and she was like, I felt so bad that like pretty much like we are getting pigeonholed to pay for these things that she doesn't need. Like if we just listen to our children, they'll tell us everything we need. And also just so she said that from 2 weeks, she'd done it for 2 weeks. She only used 2 diapers because like she missed her on one time.
That's so crazy.
But like, who knew? I had no idea.
But it makes complete sense, you know, like it really does. Because it's like it's your child. I feel that way with my pet. Like I know what he needs and when he needs it. Like my cat. So I can only, whatever. I can only imagine it with your child, and especially if you're just in tune like that, then you can teach your child to be in tune as well so easily, and like they don't have to become like blocked out to things like that, like intuition, you know what I mean? Like, it's so powerful, and that's the thing. Like, I feel like that's why psychedelics get like a bad rap, I was gonna say we all know this, but I mean maybe not everybody knows this, but I just feel like the reason why they get such a bad rap is because they're actually so powerful in like waking us up and making us see through a lot of things, and of course powers would want to just keep us from that and keep us from realizing how big we are in reality.
Yeah, they need slaves to run the machine.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a shame.
No, you're right.
But
and it's like, like you come out of the womb, pretty much to me it just said that like we come out of the womb not needing something, and we still don't need anything 40 years from now. Right. But it's like they tell us we need all these things we don't need. Like we never needed anything. We just needed that familial center, the like understanding of self, and that's all you need. You don't need anything else.
Yeah. It just makes me think, for me it's been coming up a lot, just the the realization that like we're supposed to just be like hunting in the woods and like just surviving and eating. Like that's literally all we're supposed to be doing, but instead we're like in Hobby Lobby with like fucking a million like things like around you. You're just like, what is all this stuff? Like why is this like this? It's so weird.
And then we wonder why our minds feel so all over the place all the time, and it's because like it's constant sensory overload. It's constant like making fake versions of the sun to keep us up at night. Like it's just all these stupid things. And the guy leading the ceremony, by the way, the guy leading the ceremony was wearing this amazing headdress. All the people involved were wearing like feather headdresses and like parrot feathers. So pretty.
Oh wow.
But he was talking about how when the Spaniards came, the story is that like, oh, these primitive people, they didn't have anything, they were starving, and he was like, that wasn't it at all. We were fine. We had thriving cities. We were totally good, but the Spaniards came from the ocean like hungry and tired and lost, saying me, mine, acting like children. And so the natives were like, well, the right thing to do is take care of these people because they're like children. And we see how that worked out. But I asked him about that too, because a lot of the songs were in the native language and in Spanish, and I was like, is that okay? Like, how does that feel with like having the Spanish in the sacred songs? And he's like, well, just it is what it is. Like, it's our history, and it's more kinds of people being able to witness the power of this medicine. So True. It's not, and he said it in a very positive way, and
no grudges.
No grudges. And he's like, this was meant to be. Everything has happened the way it's meant to happen, and we want these practices to help as many people in as many places as it can all over the world. And he talked about, there's this prophecy, and I'm sure you can look it up and find a better explanation. But, there's a prophecy from an indigenous leader whose name I can't remember right now, about the Rainbow Warrior tribe. And that's the prophecy that's being fulfilled now, because people of every color are joining this tribe of humans who want to know and want to get back to like what's good for us and want to share knowledge. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that is. Warriors.
Yeah.
It's coming to life.
Yeah, I really felt like it was very divine timing, all of it.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I'm really happy we did that.
It sounds like such a cool experience. I definitely want to do some sort of ceremony like that eventually, but like you said, right time, right place.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I really want to like do an ayahuasca ceremony because I've just heard more about it. I've done more research about it, heard more experiences. I haven't really heard a lot about peyote, which is interesting. So
yeah, I feel like it definitely...
I thought it was like crazy. Like that's what I heard. Like it is so like you don't know who you are, where you're at. Like so crazy. But yeah,
I didn't feel that way.
Isn't that funny?
For some people, but I think it's also intention. Like I think we went in there with the intention to like do some really like deep work, and I think like when you walk into something with that intention set, it kind of dictates the direction it kind of flows.
Yeah, absolutely. That's everything.
Yeah, as far as what I've read about ayahuasca, I have not tried it, but it's like a more maternal spirit, grandmother spirit, and it seems to be that it's more hallucinogenic, and it takes you into like a dream world, whereas like this is more you dealing with you, not you dealing with the dream world.
Gotcha. Yeah.
At least that's what I mean.
Yeah, that makes sense though. Right?
if I do try that, I'll
let you know. Yeah. Sweet. Cool.
Well,
now what?
We can close it out.
Yeah.
Sweet. Awesome, guys. Okay. Well, I think this ends this episode. This has been super cool just to talk about, and I feel like it's always relevant. Like whatever comes up is just always relevant in the moment, like whatever we talk about. So that's always funny. But
yes,
guys,
yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Monique.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Monique. It was awesome. And thanks, Steph, too.
Steph asked me if I wanted to be on, and I was like, I was waiting for you to ask.
Yay! Yes, that's awesome.
This is great. I feel like I'm learning so much every interview we do too, and talk. So I appreciate you guys listening, hanging out. Let us know if we can do, if you want us to talk to anybody, if you want to do anything on our social media. We're on Instagram, also on Anchor. You can reach out, and we love doing it.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to see my art,
please check it out.
go on Instagram, moniqueboileau.art. We can probably write that somewhere because you're not.
We
gonna know
will
how
put
to
it in the
spell
description.
Yes, we
Yes.
will. We'll make sure
We
it's
will.
in the description.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so you guys can check her out. And we'll see you guys soon.
Have a good
Bye.
week.